The Detroit Lions still have room to grow over the final two regular season games as they get ready for a playoff push. Detroit has the goal of ultimately being the last team standing, which is not an easy feat regardless of where a team is at from a health perspective. The Lions have been battered, but have steadied the ship each time they've faced adversity. Detroit has shown plenty of resiliency throughout the year, most recently defeating Chicago after a loss to the Bills, in which 4 players suffered significant injuries. Coach Dan Campbell discussed some improvements the team needs to make heading into Week 17, namely on the defensive side of the ball. Even despite some improvements that the Lions made to their secondary this offseason, the Lions still rank 27th in the league in passing yard allowed with an average of 240.4. Campbell discussed needing more precise work up front from the defensive line in an effort to disrupt opposing passing games. He noted that the defensive line needs to execute better on their stunts and games while rushing the passer. The line did have a difficult time keeping Caleb Williams in the pocket on Sunday, as the talented passer was able to escape the rush and use his mobility to extend plays. While Detroit was able to limit his big plays to a minimum, struggles in rushing against the teams that they could see in the postseason could be haunting. There's these things that we've got to finish a little bit in the pass game. Look, we're handling the run game well, and we really, for the most part, made them one-dimensional. Man, the effort's outstanding. Our physical nature, Campbell said during his weekly interview with 97.1 The Ticket. But then, there's some things in the pass game we get these guys in first, second and long. We've got to be able to get off the field. Or, if it's second down, keep them in third and long. Up front, when we run our games, we run our stunts. We have to be pinpoint in how we run those things. The detail at which we run them and how we run them has got to be dead on to create disruption up front. Those are things that we can get better at just as a starting point. While Campbell added that the secondary needs to be tighter in coverage, he had a positive assessment of the performances of Amik Robertson playing on the outside and Brian Branch sliding back into the nickel position, where he spent all of last season. Moving forward, the Lions are looking for the pass defense to improve in areas that aren't necessarily affected by talent. There's some things, leverage-wise, on the back end that we're better than, that we need to clean up. But all in all, the coverage is pretty damn good. We're sticky. Moving Amik outside was awesome, and Branch at nickel. We're playing pretty good there in the back end right now, so just the little things, Campbell said. Things that don't require talent is what we've got to be better at. Detroit welcomed back safety Ifeatu Melifonwu against Chicago after the fourth-year defensive. Back missed the first 14 games of the regular season. Melifonwu wasn't eased back into it by any means, as he played 51 snaps, which equated to 81% of the defensive action. The Syracuse product showed plenty of promise, including a fourth-quarter sack. Good to get Iffy back. We had tried to get him up before, but had another injury, another setback. But he's been training, he's been running, Campbell explained. Just hasn't had a lot of football since early training camp. So we did feel good about his conditioning. He's been in the meetings, he's had the right mindset, and so we just felt like, man, let's give him a go as long as practice looks good. His feet are under him. He's confident about going and playing. Melifonwu has the ability to add another layer to the defense moving forward with his ability to blitz from the safety or outside linebacker positions. He showcased this ability late last season, which helped the defense find new ways to get after opposing quarterbacks. Campbell praised the defender's performance after a lengthy absence and believes he will continue to be better as the Lions work into the postseason. Man, I thought it was steady. It was a solid performance, Campbell said. He's a little rusty, and he should be rusty, but there's things in there that are very promising, and he's only gonna get better getting his legs back under him. The 13-2 Detroit Lions are on the cusp of capping off a remarkable 2024 season with a first-round bye despite managing a slew of injuries to their defense. Head coach Dan Campbell's team is currently without Aiden Hutchinson, Alex Anzalone, Jalen Reeves-Maybin, Carlton Davis, Aleem McNeil, Malcolm Rodriguez, Derek Barnes, Marcus Davenport, and John Kaminsky. The fourth-year Lions coach is poised to get back a pair of key defenders. The returns of linebackers Alex Anzalone and Jalen Reeves-Maybin seem around the corner. Campbell indicated that Anzalone is close to returning, but is unsure if he'll feature in the team's next game on Monday against the San Francisco 49ers. Anzalone, a 2017 third-round pick by the New Orleans Saints, and Lions defensive captain, broke his forearm in Detroit's 52-6 win over the Jacksonville Jaguars in November. "Thank you everyone for the well wishes," he tweeted after the news. As an athlete, a lot of times you think, why did this have to happen? But I like to think about all the countless reps. Something bad didn't happen. I'm beyond blessed. I'll be back in no time, fresh legs and all. He was originally given a 6 to 8 week timetable to return, meaning Anzalone is more or less on track with his recovery. Reeves-Maybin is a reserve linebacker and key special teamer for Campbell's defense. "We started him last week. He got a practice or two," the Detroit coach said of his injured player. "We're going to get him more this week. See how he feels where it's at," Campbell said. He is somebody that could potentially be brought up. Hutchinson, arguably the Lions' best player, looked like a candidate for Defensive Player of the Year when he recorded 7.5 sacks through the first 5 games of the season. He suffered a broken tibia and fibula against the Dallas Cowboys in October and looked destined to miss the season. However, Hutchinson teased on the Squeeze podcast last week that he may be able to return. "I'm on track for my goal of returning for the Super Bowl," he revealed. "I keep telling all the boys when I see them in the facility, I'm like, you guys just got to get there. I promise you, I'm going to be back." The Detroit Lions continued to roll in Week 16. Despite the fact that injuries have been piling up at an alarming rate this season. The Lions took a 34-17 lead against the Chicago Bears during the third quarter of the rematch of the Lions' Thanksgiving Day win. You may recall that 10 days after that Thanksgiving game, the Lions beat the Green Bay Packers with Detroit, converting a late fourth down on a play where Jared Goff fell down, handing the ball off to David Montgomery. Goff stumbled again against the Bears on Sunday before throwing a touchdown pass to Sam Laporta. But this one came with a twist, as Goff meant to stumble this time. According to head coach Dan Campbell, third-year wide receiver Jameson Williams turned in his finest game as a Detroit Lion in the team's win over Chicago Sunday. Offensively, our game balls were Amon-Ra, St. Brown, and Jamo. Both of those guys had huge games, and really, it was probably Jamo's best game that he's had since he's been here. And I'm talking about from run blocking as well as the pass game, which everybody sees, so that was great, Campbell said Monday. The statistics certainly backed up what Campbell saw on film. Williams had 5 receptions for 143 yards, 28.6 average, and 1 touchdown, along with a 7-yard rush to record 150 scrimmage yards on the day. Those are single-game career highs for receiving yards and scrimmage yards for Williams. His 82-yard touchdown catch in the second quarter broke the game open for the Lions with a 20-0 lead in what ended as a 17-point victory, 34-17. It was really off the safety number 36. He was flat-footed, and Jared Goff knew, and you just have to trust him, Williams said after the game of that 82-yard touchdown connection. He know I'm going to run past him. He know what I can do down the field. Just put the ball in a spot and go get it. Williams did go get it, and that's been a huge part of the offense this season, and part of why Detroit is number 1 in the NFL in scoring and number 2 in total offense. The touchdown was Williams' 4th this season of 50 or more yards. He has 3 of 60 or more yards on the year, joining Kloisbach's 1952-1950 and John Green 1945 as the only players in franchise history to do that. Williams is just 110 yards from the first 1,000-yard season of his career, and he has 6 touchdowns. His 18.9-yard average per reception ranks 4th in the NFL. His ability to stretch the field in the passing game and be a physical presence in the run game fits perfectly in this offense. He's playing good football, and the Lions will need that to continue if they're going to reach their ultimate goal this season.